Hello participants, welcome to this lecture on deep dive into supervised learning. In our previous lecture, we tried to understand what is supervised learning and how the training data set can be used to create a model which can actually help us to predict the output for the new input that may come in. So in today's session, we will try to understand the different types of supervised learning. We touched upon this in the previous lecture, that is classification and regression. These are the broad two types of supervised learning. So what is classification? It means to group the output inside a class. So for example, going back to the example of cats and dogs. So if you look at the image of the cat, based on the past data training set, you're able to identify whether it is a cat or not a cat. That is, you are trying to classify whether it belongs to a particular class, that is cat, or not. So if the algorithm tries to label input into two distinct classes, that is cat or not cat, it is called as a binary classification. Selecting between more than two classes is referred to as multi-class classification. Example, determining whether or not somebody will be a defaulter of the loan. It is a simple classification problem. So let's look at a simple example with the data and try to decode how this whole classification works. The data that you're seeing is actually the data set of a shopping store, which is useful in predicting whether a customer will purchase a particular product under consideration or not based on the certain data points like gender, age, and salary. If I have to use the machine learning terms, these are the features which we are talking about in the previous lecture. So the input is gender, age, and salary. And what is the output we are predicting? It is 0 or 1. 1 means yes, the customer will purchase. 0 means that the customer won't purchase it. This is what we put it as a training data set. So what you're looking here is for a bunch of customers with the user IDs and the gender specified very clearly, age specified very clearly, and then the salary income of the individual is also mentioned very clearly. With these input for the past historical data, you have a very clear classification, that is label given whether it is 0 or 1, whether the customer has purchased or not. So this is the training data set that is available. So what you're trying to do is, from this training data set, you're actually trying to understand when a new customer comes in who belongs to a particular age, particular salary segment, and particular gender, then you will be able to identify whether he will purchase or not because of the past data set. So this is something you cannot ignore. So this is called as the classification technique. Now moving on to the next technique, that is regression. So regression technique actually predicts a single output value using the training data set. So in the classification, you're trying to classify whether a particular input data set belongs to this class or the other. But here you're trying to predict a single output value using the training data that is available. For example, you can use regression to predict the house price from a training data. What kind of input data you would need to predict the house price? The locality, size of an house, 1 BHK or 2 BHK. So these are some of the factors which you will consider. Distance from the nearest bus stand, railway station, airport, or any locations, or any prominent landmark nearby. These are some of the data points that you would consider as input to predict the output, that is the house price. If you're able to do this, this is called as a regression. Now let's look at an example for regression. So what you're looking here is a meteorological data set which serves the purpose of predicting the wind speed based on different parameters. So what you need, what is the output coming out of this function? It is the wind speed, which you find it in the last column. Now what are the input data points that you need to predict this wind speed? The input is dew point, temperature, pressure, relative humidity, and the wind direction. With all these input data points, you would be able to predict for that particular combination what is the output wind speed. This can be done with the help of regression algorithms. We have different types of regression algorithms which we will cover it in the future lecture. But to quote some here, linear regression, logistic regression are some of the regression types. So what we are trying to do is, we are trying to say y is equal to f of x. I'm just going back to the old regression formula. So f of x, here let's say for example we are considering 4 variables that are mentioned in the table. That means f of x1, x2, x3, x4, where x1 is equal to temperature, x2 is equal to pressure, x3 equal to relative humidity, and x4 is equal to wind direction. Now y is equal to the wind speed. With all these data points, I'm trying to understand what would be the weightages for each and every variable. The weightage that has to be given for temperature, that is W1, weightage that has to be given for pressure, that is W2, W3 for relative humidity, and W4 for wind direction. Now the equation becomes y is equal to W1 x1 plus W2 x2 plus W3 x3 plus W4 x4. Now, based on the past data, you are actually identifying the weightages W1, W2, W3, W4 from the past historical data, which can be used to compute y for a given x1, x2, x3, x4. That is how you compute the wind speed for a future data that is going to come in. I hope you understand the example of regression and you're able to visualize the output. So what is the difference between classification and regression? So if you look at it, classification is actually dealing with the defined labels. You need the labeled data for the past so that you are able to predict the output, whether it belongs to a particular class or not. In regression, you do not care about the labeled data. You're more worried about the weightages, you're more worried about the relationship between the data points so that you can be able to predict the output in a very precise way. So classification and the regression, when you plot the data on the chart, this is how it may look. You're trying to classify with a line equation on the data that is available so that any new data comes in, you will try to understand whether the data belongs to the left or the right side, which side it is closer to with respect to this line. Regression, it is about touching most of the data points that are plotted so that the equation which can actually help us to predict the future value for a future input variable, that is regression. Now we need to understand the challenges in supervised machine learning. Having gone through the different types and understanding the basics of supervised learning approach, certain factors you would have understood by now. That is, irrelevant input feature present training data could give inaccurate results. So your training data, if you do not classify the right input features, then it will give you inaccurate results. So this is where your understanding of the problem statement is very, very important. So MBAs, when they act as business analysts, their job is to identify the right features, the right columns of data that are to be classified, that are to be looked into for getting the right accurate results in the model. Second important challenge is data preparation and pre-processing. This is a common challenge for any data analytics problem, and even in supervised learning approach, data preparation and pre-processing is a challenge. And your accuracy will actually suffer when impossible, unlikely, and incomplete values have been inputted as the training data. In the corporate world, when you try to solve the problems, it is not an ideal world, isn't it? You will always find the data set which will be incomplete, which will have a lot of missing values, which will have values that are random in nature. So how do you handle such data? How do you fix those errors in the data so that you can get better results coming from that historical data? This is very important when you're doing the pre-processing. So this has a huge impact on the accuracy of the model. So the final challenge is, if the concerned effort is not available, the expert is not available, Then the other approach is brute force. It means you need to think that the right features are available to train the machine on. And finally, it could be inaccurate. So many times you don't take the help of the expert, and that actually results in a lot of inaccuracy. So these are the challenges in the supervised machine learning process. What are the advantages of this approach? The supervised learning allows you to collect data or produce the data output from the previous experience. So if you have quality training data available, you can actually produce a quality output. And this will actually ensure that your performance criteria is highly optimized with the help of the experience. Supervised machine learning helps you to solve various problems of real world computation issues. Moving on to the disadvantages of supervised learning. Sometimes there may be a challenge of the decision boundary getting overtrained. If you're training a set which doesn't have examples that you want to have in a class. Let's say, for example, I have 10,000 images of cat and 5 images of a dog. Now when I given a new image of a dog, the problem is it may not identify that image correctly because of the strong bias towards the cat there, considering the quantum of images that are being considered. Now the model may be overfitted with respect to the training data. This is a downside of it. You will understand this more in detail when we execute it with Python and other languages. So if you have aspirations to get into artificial intelligence as a career, when you play around with the training set, you will understand all these challenges. The second disadvantage is you need to select lots of good examples from each class while you are training the classifier. Remember, this goes to the fundamental assumption of the machine learning. That is, your sample should actually represent the population that you are going to analyze. If the sample doesn't represent the population, the results will not be accurate. The model will not give you the right results. So that is the second disadvantage. The third one is classifying the big data can be a real challenge. Because when we talk of supervised learning, we are talking about loads and loads of data that are needed to actually help you to predict or classify correctly. So when you are needing so much of data, of course the big data will come into picture. So classifying the big data would be a real challenge for you. Finally, training for supervised learning needs lot of computation time. The kind of power that you need when it comes to computation and the storage, that is much higher in supervised learning. So are you ready with cloud and other kind of technologies to help you to compute this supervised learning algorithm? The best practices that you may follow in supervised learning. Before you do anything else, you need to decide what kind of data should be used as a training set. So a business analyst who can understand the problem statement should ideally sit and find out what would be the right data that is needed for the training data set so that you can create a model which can work perfectly. So BA's role is very important, that should not be undermined. The second best practice is you need to decide the structure of the learned function and the learning algorithm. So when you do supervised learning algorithm, what is important is the function that you are going to create. Function is nothing but the relationship that exists between the features in the historical data, which will actually help you to understand and predict the outcome. So how are you going to decide it? What is the structure for it? These are aspects that you need to define upfront. Finally, gather corresponding outputs either from human experts or from measurements. So for the historical data, we are very clear that you need the labeled data also. If you don't have the labeled data, either from the system, then what you need to do is you need to get the human expert who can look at the data and classify each of them as the yes or no label. That is, Whether the output is going to be labeled for all these data points depends on the expertise. The right output from the expert would actually help you to create a better model for the new input. So I hope you have understood the complete aspects of supervised learning approach here. In the next lecture, we will try to understand the examples, the practical applications of supervised learning approach in the real world, which will give you a better understanding of what this learning approach is. Thank you very much for your time today.